Okay, what we're going to talk about is how long do withdrawals last? How many of you out there, and we're talking about from food, alcohol, pills, porn, anything that has a pull on you, that's a compulsion, an irresistible urge to do something against one's own conscious wishes, which what that means is that mental fucking torture that we're going through, and we're going, how long does this last? We're not fucking sleeping. We're constantly thinking about doing whatever it is. Drinking mainly, to most of us, and pills. We're always constantly thinking about it. Always. Once again, however long, only you know this. When you learn how to do an inventory on yourself, when you look inside of your own self, it's like a business. You have to do an inventory on everything. You have to do a solid self-appraisal. What is it that's holding you back? What is it that's holding you back? Because see, a lot of times when we're going through those withdrawals, we get in a fuck it mode. We start thinking about what we've been running from forever. Because a lot of us drink and other stuff to cover up, to numb something that we fucking did that screwed everything up. And we've never learned how to face that situation like a man or a woman should. So we've ran, we've dibbled in some shit, and eventually we've caught a habit, bad habit. And now we understand what the pull is like, trying to pull away from that. We test ourselves, right? Buy a 6-pack or a 24, and then we drink that shit and we're back to the store and back. And there goes trying to quit that night. You know, people ask me, how'd you do it? I've been through so many detoxes. I knew that I had to go to detox. I knew it. Because my withdrawals were so bad. Even after 6 days in detox, I mean, you know, for 6 months, I've got journals. I mean, I was a mess. It took months for my hands to where I could really write. And my journals are messy. But see, I did a lot of damage to the brain, to the conductors within my brain that, you know, that control my functions. See, try to think about that. What has this alcohol or this food or these pills or whatever, what has it done to my ability to write, to read, to listen, you know, to want to try? Because what has happened is that shit has taken total control of our lives. When we are thinking about that shit 24/7, that's the master. That is the master. I remember pilgriming and going through my daughter's piggy banks, you know, getting change out to go to the store because of the obsession that had taken over. And see, but my alcoholism was to a point to where it was that or nothing. I don't care. You know, and there's a lot of enabling on the other side, but we've got to wait on their story. But also too, it was like, it's hard to cut something off when we've been drilling the brain for so long. You know, because we get in habit. It takes 90 days for something to become a habit, good or bad. And then we build on that habit after that 90 days. That's why in recoveries and AA and NA and stuff, they say do 90 and 90. I did 217 and 90. You know, I did the inventory. Before I even knew what it was, I set a goal, set sub-goals, analyzed my resources. And granted, now the situation with my family, you know, I don't have it like everybody else and the others don't have it like me, but it doesn't fucking matter as long as you're going to get help. You know, it has to be number one. Just like we put drinking and other shit number one above anything and everything, we have to put getting better number one above everything. We have to. But see, when I tell people to do what you don't want to do, I wanted to drink during the first, year. But see, there comes a point to where we know where that shit's going to take us. That's a spot check inventory. When you're sitting there looking at a beer or whatever that's destroying you, over time you learn how to do a spot check inventory instead of looking at it and drooling over it and process it in our brains of saying, man, damn, it looks good. I know I can handle one. We get into the mindset of this. When I'm looking at it, in 10 seconds, I already have myself in the county jail, in handcuffs, arguing with the family, DUI. And see, before I couldn't see that. See, we all have to go through a path, whatever of destruction that is. We have to go through some dark shit before we can truly see the light. And that's a fact. Money's not success. It ain't. That's a greed spirit. Making all kinds of money will get you more fucked up than drugs and alcohol and all that shit. But I talk to a lot of people, and that's the main thing. And what we do is we destroy ourselves. We can't handle that shit. We don't want nobody finding out. Well, it's just too bad. Withdrawals are too bad. I'm just going to stay in it and I should be all right. But that's not the case. And you could go out but you can't you can get clean if you're around it, but you got that much of a chance. How many times have you tried to get clean around that shit and fell right back into it over and over and over? See, everything has to change. Everything in the beginning has to change. The environment, all of it. And we have to start using the ability that God or whoever it is you believe in put in our brains, because all of this shit that we see around us has been created to fucking destroy our brains to where you can't think. It's not just you. The same withdrawals that you have from alcohol is the same withdrawals, if not worse, from pills and meth and all that other shit. Meth, it's insane. We are not alone. The main thing is to get honest though and say, man, I can't fucking do this. When you say that shit to yourself in the mirror, eye to eye with yourself, something should happen if you really truly want it. Look at yourself. I shattered some of my shit because I can't. But eventually, through all that darkness, you got to find that little bit of light and start that journey back. But see, the journey back to where you think you're going to be ain't going to be nowhere near it. If you really want this shit, really want it, your eyes and your heart will fucking blow wide open. But you've got to fight through the withdrawals. And I'm not saying for 6 months I was like this right here. I was, shaking. But see, I had created my body to not be used to a lot of heat, out in the sun a whole lot, not unless I was hammered. So if I went out in the sun or got hot, when I wasn't drinking, I'd almost have a stroke, a seizure. I'd really start going into convulsions because my body, I had prepped it, I had dehydrated it. See, and that's another thing too. A lot of your withdrawals is from dehydration. It's not enough of certain foods. We can't fucking get better going down to McDonald's and shit, eating that garbage and drinking 10 speed drinks a day or 20 cups of coffee or, all the mocha lattes and shit. See, those are all substances too that hit the brain. So not only are we trying to quit, we're introducing shit that does the same fucking thing to our brains. See, in the first year into this, getting those articles and doing what I did in 1 year, when you make something habit. But I feel like this, some of you out there, you've ran everybody off around you. Well, that's basically where I was. So I guess that was God doing something for me I couldn't do for myself. And I'm not saying, if people see this and take it the wrong way, that's on them. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that was my journey. was to run everybody fucking off and to see how much heart that I had and how much faith that I have in the getting better. Because everything had to change behind me, and it was the constant, battle of the brain. But see, if I go out and do something constructive and physical each day, I'm going to wear my body out. See, we can't get better just sitting around looking like for the perfect fucking medicine so I don't go crazy. The key ingredient is staying busy. We stay busy and active, drinking and using and eating and all that shit. So we have to stay busy on changing our body, getting it used to what it was made for. It wasn't made to get shit-faced all the time and get overweight and all that. It was made to be active. So once that signal of being active gets going, then the mind starts, it's like a battery, and the computer too, it's being reprogrammed, which it's already been programmed, but it was fucking rebooted years ago. And it's been like that for years, so now we gotta go in there and manipulate it and trick it and everything else. It sounds insane, but it works. Cleaning your house. We say this, clean it again. Fuck, I've cleaned this place on my hands and knees. Hell, I still clean a restaurant on my hands and knees sometimes. Just because in boot camp, felony boot camp, because I got busted with 10 pounds of weed one time. In felony boot camp run by crazy fucking Marines that helped me with this discipline that I'm showcasing right now from them. But we had to scrub the floors on our hands and knees with socks, wax it, and everything else. That's the experience that I had to do an inventory on in my life to go back and say, I can apply that fucking discipline and all that shit to right now. Saved my life. People laugh. The people that laugh, though, are the ones that's ate up with the obesity and don't admit it, the prescription medications, 10 of them a day, just like, Pez dispenser. I ain't got a problem, shit. And it's just like, and that shit's legal, and that's all by design. That shit will put you under a spell, and it will. CBD helps. And I'm not saying go out and blow your back out smoking blunts and shit. But I'm saying if you can get, cannabis in you somehow to where it's a medical issue, professional way, it's insane that you can get 90 hydros and put them in that cabinet and a little kid can go over there and bust them open and die. It's insane. But that's a whole nother story. But I wanted to share that with you because there's a lot of people that do struggle with the withdrawals, and it's just part of it. And it all boils down to how bad do you want to fucking change. It is temporary, and it is, but the busier that you are, the better chance that you have. In reading, you have to read, you've got to read more, make yourself read right. You're going to fucking hate it and do it anyways. Write down how horrible you are. And then in a month, if you can stay with it, or a week, go back and read that shit and then write again. And seeing down the road, you go back and you're like, damn, man, I was fucking crazy. And it's, all you're doing is writing down those monsters in your head that was created. You didn't actually do it. The addictions were created to destroy us, and they were. It's just how it is. But you get a chance to put the demons on paper. It's all I've done. The fucking, just the insane shit going on. Of how you could just, you want to jump through a fucking window. Or bust in something. But we have a chance the busier that we are. Anyways, I love you.